Hey everyone, I'm Jennifer. Welcome back to my channel, A Country Life. Today we are doing something that is, I guess, quite country. We are getting ready to can green beans. This in no way is going to be a complete tutorial. It's just kind of showing the gist of how to start with garden green beans and eventually, Maria, keep your hands still, and to eventually get them into a jar and pressure can and on the shelf. The reason that I'm showing this is just because I know that not everybody, Maria, you have to keep your hands still when I video, okay? I know that not everyone grew up watching their mom or grandma or neighbor or whatever can, and so I just thought I'd put this video out there so you can just kind of get a little feel for what happens. So I went down to the garden this morning. It took me about maybe 20 minutes or half an hour to pick this grocery bag of green beans, and then we have everyone just kind of has a station set up. We've got Warren over there, he's going to help snip. And so we're basically just, let's see if we can zoom in, we're just cutting the stem end and then the blossom end off of the green bean, and then we'll just cut them into small pieces. So Sam, show us your pieces. Excellent. Now some green beans will have some kind of funny scab on like that. We're just going to cut all of that off and only use
Peter shaves it off.
I don't want it shaved off. I want to actually cut out from the green bean, okay? Yes.
Yeet.
Yeet. Yeet.
Think of the out.
Sam, let's see. Let's see.
That was fun. This. Good job, Joe.
All right, so we have all the green beans cut up, and we yielded from that big bag, we yielded almost an ice cream pail and then another half of an ice cream pail. Okay, so I said that this isn't really going to be a how-to can video, but I am going to give you some pointers that I've learned over the years, because I've been doing this for about 20 years. And the very first pointer I have for you is this. When you're going to start canning, you really want a clean kitchen. So if the kitchen looks like that, or like that, or
it's not so bad.
or the island looks like that, you might as well put a cover on the green beans and get things cleaned up, because you really do want to have space. When you're dealing with hot water and hot jars, you want to have a lot of space. It's terrible in here. You want to have a lot of space open for quickly moving hot things around. If you don't have some place to put a hot kettle or hot jars, you end up burning your fingers, which I've done plenty of times because I've tried to can in messy kitchens. So first things first, I'm gonna get this kitchen tidied up. It looks like I'm gonna have to load up the dishwasher and just get the island cleaned up, and then we'll get going on the actual process of canning. So the kitchen has all been cleaned up already, but that's what the island looks like again. So tip number 2 is
Keep your husband out of the room.
that's a good one, but I guess then we'll go tip number 3 is to not can hangry. You guys know what hangry is, right? When you're hungry and angry at the same time. So we're gonna take a break, have some lunch here, get the island cleaned up again, and then we'll get back to canning. I'm back at it. I'm just rinsing all my beans just to make sure that every little bit of sand is off of them, just because where we live we have really sandy soil. So anyways, I'm also double checking, because since the kids help me out, sometimes they miss a little side of a bean that had a little scab or something. So I just kind of want to double check over them, make sure that they're all looking really good. I'm just going to pack all these green beans into the jars. I do a cold pack, and unfortunately I don't have my little extra wide funnel because it's in the dishwasher, because I was doing some canning yesterday and it just ended up getting washed here at lunchtime today. Are you going to eat some green beans? was going to get 6 quarts. I got 5 quarts, and then this one is almost full. So this one I'm actually just going to put a cover on, put it in the fridge, and we'll just cook those up probably for supper. My pressure canner holds 7 quarts, so this is going to be not quite a full canner, but that's fine. I don't mind canning small amounts every day. So far, if this is kind of intriguing to you, my best advice to get started in canning would be to get something like a very trustworthy canning book. Something like this here. This is the Ball Blue Book of Canning, Guide to Home Canning, Freezing, and Dehydration. So there's all kinds of information in there as to how to can, the equipment that you need to can, what things can be pressure can, or what things have to be pressure canned, and what things can be hot water bath canned. I would recommend starting with something like pickles, or starting with maybe some jams. Joe, are you in the house? Joseph! So these are the 2 basic canners. We have a boiling water bath canner, and then we also over here have the pressure canner. This is what I'm going to be using for the beans. The lid is a very tight fitting lid, and then when you turn it on to high heat, it builds up steam pressure, and it uses steam under pressure to actually can and kill any bacteria in the jars. And a boiling water canner is used for things that are high acid, like jellies, jams, pickles. Pretty much most vegetables have to be canned in a pressure canner. Now, all vegetables have a different headspace, and that is the distance from the water to the top of the jar. And so that's just something that you have to look up in the canning book and see what the headspace needs to be for the vegetable that you might be canning. So to check the headspace, I'm just going to look in my Miro booklet. This came right along with my canner. So green beans are going to have to go for 25 minutes at 10 pounds of pressure, and they need a 1/2 inch headspace. I just put in a teaspoon of canning salt into each jar, and now I'm just going to slide this spatula handle. This is kind of hard for me to do through a camera here. I'm just going to slide this down along the edge just to kind of release any bubbles that might be down in there. My lids are nice and hot, and I'm just going to put, this is called a lid, and this is called a ring. Oh, the boys are going to use that?
The boys need to use this for BMX racing.
Oh, okay.
When sweat's dripping down them, they can wipe it off with this.
Right, right. Okay, they're going to go out and play some kickball, I think is... Maria was just in talking to me because they're going to play soccer, and for whatever reason she needed a bandana. Okay, so back to this. So this is called a lid. This here is called a ring. These are regular mouth jars. And then if I can do this through the lens of a camera, I am going to just screw on this lid. And they always say fingertip tight. I'm going to have to do it a little tighter than I can one-handed. But anyways, I think you get the drift. I still refer to the guide every single time because I just don't want to always rely on my memory, because sometimes I have days where I don't think I'm brain dead, but for whatever reason I turn up to be brain dead. And so I like to just refer here how to pressure can in glass jars, making sure that I have done everything that it says. So I've packed the food, I've finished filling with water. Okay, so place the rack in the canner. That's where I am right now. I put the hot water in my canner already. I don't really care if my canner gets discolored, so I don't ever put the vinegar in. And then I'm going to set the jars on the rack. So I do have my canner turned on just so the water is getting nice and hot. Now I'm going to put my jars into, whoo! It's a little hotter than I guess I thought it was, so it's steaming up my camera here. Okay, and now we just basically wait. So once I see steam coming out of this, I set my timer for 10 minutes, and I'll let that steam for 10 minutes, or I guess they call it venting, for 10 minutes. Here's another tip for you. I don't really know if this is tip 4 or 5 or wherever we're at right now, but anyways, one of the things I like to do when I'm canning is to wash dishes as I go, because it seems like all the dishes for canning are big. And so if I let that all pile up, 1, I don't have enough counter space to do that, and then 2, it just seems like such a big job at the end. So I like to just kind of keep my things cycling through. I just use one of these Dawn pumps here, and then I just pump, a little bit of soap into each thing. Quick, do a real quick wash. It washes really fast, and then it's not such a big job at the end. So my 10-minute timer is going off right now, and I'm not sure if you guys can see that. You can definitely hear it. The steam is coming out, so I'm going to turn that off, and then I am going to put this on there. So that is onto the 10 pounds of pressure, and now I'm just going to wait. I'm going to keep my temp up nice and high, and I'm just going to wait for that to start a-rocking. Then it has to start to rock, and it's going to kind of like rock, 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 and all of a sudden it's going to be brrrr, like that. And then I'm just going to turn the canner down, and I have to pressure can these for 25 minutes, it said, for quart jars. And I'm just going to I need to get the heat adjusted just right so that what this does is about every minute it kind of rocks about 3-4 times. So what I want it to do is go rock, rock, and then wait about 15 seconds or so, rock, 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 wait another 15 seconds, rock, 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 and then at the minute mark, rock, rock, rock. So that's kind of what I want it to do. I can't usually get it perfect like that, but that's always the goal. All right, guys, that is the jiggle I'm talking about. So I'm going to turn my heat way down, set my timer for 25 minutes, and then we're just going to kind of work the heat until we get this jiggler jiggling just about 3 to 4 times per minute. So canning, it's a lot of work, but it's actually something that I find kind of therapeutic. I love being in the garden. I like that act of picking the vegetables and then kind of putting them up for so-called winter. Even though we live in a day and age where we don't have to put food up for winter, we have grocery stores just all around, and fresh fruits and fresh vegetables all through the year, even though we might have to pay a little bit more, but we do have them available. But it's still, there's just something about that kind of little house on the prairie way of life that's just always been intriguing to me. So I love those stories since I was a little girl, and I just love the whole kind of pioneer way of life. It's just always been something intriguing to me, and so that's what I guess I feel like when I am working a canner, you know, in my air-conditioned house and on my gas stove. Yeah, that's what I feel like, a pioneer. I'm just getting a cookie sheet here ready and a double thickness towel so that I can set my jars on this when it comes out. I have just 9 minutes left, and it's jiggling away nicely. Come on, stop. Okay. I've got my jar lifter here. This is what helps to lift a very, very hot jar out of the boiling, you know, out of the water. Although, I guess I don't have to be quite on the ball, because with pressure canning, you have to let this come down in pressure before you can open it. So even though the timer says 9 minutes, it's actually going to be probably at least a half an hour, if not a little bit longer. But I just want to be here and be ready, and you know, I don't want people to fill up the counter. So if I have my stuff ready where it needs to go, then no one else will set anything there. You guys are back.
We're back.
They're back. How's the Mustang?
Good. We went fast.
All right, the timer just went off. I just cut the heat on the pressure canner. I'm just going to leave everything as is. And then what I usually do to know if the pressure is out, I'm just going to knock that, I'm just going to knock the weight with my finger and just see if any steam comes out, or, you know, it'll kind of go psh, psh, if there's still steam in there, and then that means that it's not time to open it up yet. But I'm surely not going to do it now. I'm going to give it at least 20 minutes of cool down time. It might even need a little bit more. Whoa, everybody came in and they are hot and sticky. You guys look hot. Are you hot?
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure here.
And then lemonade.
That's not lemonade. Tell us what that is.
Orange juice.
It is orange juice, isn't it?
Let me have some juice of it.
That's nice. All right, so I'm just tapping this here, and no more steam is trying to escape. So that means that it's time to take this off. I'll just take that off because that's quite hot. Everything is going to be really, really hot. And I'm going to have to do this with 2 hands. Yeah, I can't do this with 1 hand. So I'm going to take the lid off, and then will be the moment of truth to see if all of the jars sealed and we don't have any cracked. I lifted all all the jars out. None of them were cracked. It seems every year I have a jar or two at some point that cracks, but none of them have cracked. If you can see, the lid looks kind of like that. And then, but as these start to cool, I should hear pop, 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 pop. And then that means that they're sealed. You might be able to hear Maria singing in the back. But then I can take the screw bands off and just store those on the shelf, and they'll be shelf stable for a year, even longer if need be. So there you have it. That is just kind of a quick little look into what it's like to can. If you are going to be tackling canning for the first time, I would advise you to just start kind of small and try to do just one canner full, or just even if it's not, if you don't want to tackle pressure canning right away, just go for the hot water bath and do something, like I said before, like pickles is a good thing to start with. Also jellies and jams, those are good. So thanks a lot for watching this canning video, and we'll catch you guys all later with a brand new video next time. Bye bye.